All right, week 4, NFL. You know what we're about. That didn't work like I thought it would. That's on me. Yeah, week 4. Here we are. Last week went okay. Good for me. I finally had some winning picks. That doesn't really happen very often, so that was kind of weird. A little shocking, if you will. Blake did have his first losing week, but to be fair, we'll go over him here in a second. But I'll let him talk about it. He was really close and almost spot on with his wild card pick. It was kind of nuts. I'll go ahead and give the rundown here. As normal, Gabe Costa here, Blake Profio. All right, rundown. My first pick last week for my game pick was Pats -3. That cash. Thank you, Jets, for getting that safety in garbage time. Jets suck. Zach Wilson, I'm sorry, buddy. You're not it. Go Pats, I guess. Next, I had CJ Stroud over 235.5 passing. Cash. Stroud is looking really good through 3 weeks now. And Steelers play the Texans this week, and I think it could be a possible trap game for us. Stroud is looking good, even though I know his offensive line is down to guys from the street. But he can sling it, man. He's the real deal.
The green baby.
That guy's
a beast.
We could go get a random 300-pound guy off the street, and he's probably gonna compete equally as well as Kendrick Green. Sorry, sure. Kendrick Green. Hope he doesn't watching this. And then lastly, I would try to go to my bread and butter for my wild card pick. I tried to get back in my winning ways. I love my field goal bets, and it was my first losing field goal bet of the year. I'm now 6-1 on field goal bets. It was actually kind of a heartbreaking one for me to lose because I needed Titans Browns over 3.5 field goals in the entire game. Three of them in the first half. And the Titans were going to go ahead and kick a fourth one right before the halftime. And they had no timeouts, and Tannehill took a sack, so time expired. So that was a brutal loss. I did end up going +1 unit on the week, 2-1. I am now 3-6 on the season, down 3.1 units. Not an ideal start, but hey, you know how you go up is you start catching some wins here in a row, catching fire. Let's go. Not to Blake here. We'll start with your winner here. Blake did go 1-2 on the week. It was his first losing week. I'm sorry, buddy. You had AJ Brown over 68.5 receiving yards. He saved you on Monday Night Football from having the sweep of losses. Yep. I know you were a little worried about that one too, weren't you?
I was just worried because the public was all in on it, and I'm a little suspicious with that. So, but
that's fair. It's fair. Your next pick, we'll go quickly over this one. About as long as it was competitive. Bears +12.5. Didn't stand a chance, unfortunately.
No, that was I'll never bet for or against the Bears ever again, and I'll never bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That was probably the worst bet I've ever had in my life. So yeah, just never happened.
Yeah, and just like they cut off the game, we'll cut off that little part there. Pat Freiermuth over 50 receiving yards. That was really close. I didn't really like that bet going in, but he had 41, and he should have had 50 on the final drive. He dropped that pass.
Yeah, I think he definitely had a chance to get over 50, but I mean, he was close, and he was definitely getting some more targets, but just unfortunate. But we're going to bounce back this week, so let's get into it.
That's what I like to hear. So last week, unfortunately, you did lose 1.14 units. You are now 5-4 on the year, plus 1.03 units. That's positive. Nothing to hang your head down on. Yeah. So week 4, without further ado, you want to get us started off?
Yeah, I'll start us off. So my first pick, we're going to the Chargers, and they just lost probably their second best receiver. I'd put Keenan Allen first, but Mike Williams is out for the season. So their third receiver is Joshua Palmer, and I have him over 43.5 receiving yards. That's at -120 on DraftKings. And clearly, Keenan Allen's kind of been running the show over there, but Mike Williams, he always has his great games and everything. So losing him is gonna hurt that offense, and they're gonna need someone to step up. Then clearly they have Justin Herbert. He's just a gunslinger quarterback. He's gonna throw the ball regardless, and I think that puts Joshua Palmer in a good position to get some yards. And then I was looking at Josh Palmer's stats with Mike Williams out. So in 5 career games without Mike Williams, he's gone over that 43-yard mark every single time, except once. And the one time he didn't, he got exactly 43 yards. So I really like that stat a lot. And I think the Raiders have a little bit of a suspect defense. So I'm expecting Palmer to have a pretty good game and get some good volume.
Yeah, you showed me that stat this morning because we were talking about it, and I was like, "How is that? Why would I set the line to that if he's hit this in every game without Mike Williams, or if not landed exactly on 43? That's actually nuts." You know what? I really like that pick. I like it so much that I'm actually going to talk about the same game for my first pick here. I'm going to my game pick for my first pick. Raiders Chargers over 48.5. This is going to be the first over/under pick on the show this year. Me personally, I was trying to wait a few weeks to get it to see how teams are, because usually you don't jump into week one picking over/under picks because you don't know, is this team's D going to be good this year? Is this team's O-line going to be trash? Is the quarterback going to look good? Right. But I think we've got a good sense of feeling on that kind of stuff now. So I'm going Raiders Chargers over 48.5 minus 105 on FanDuel. Every Chargers game this year has gone over this line. The totals for their first 3 games have been 70, 51, and 52. My reasoning a little bit here is I think both defenses here kind of stink. Chargers offense looking pretty darn good. I think Justin Herbert has yet to throw a pick this year. He's looking surgical out there. The Raiders offense is average, and then I'm being nice. Outside Devontae Adams, they're pretty trash right now. Yeah. But they're playing the Chargers. And the Chargers defense, or the Chargers in general as a whole organization, we always joke, how are the Chargers going to screw this one up? How are the Chargers going to Charger? Chargers can never put anybody away, man. Chargers can go out there and score 27 points, but they're going to let up 21, and it's still going to be a nail biter at the end of the game. It's just, I just have no faith on the Chargers to ever put any team away. I know as good as their offense is, they're just going to let the other team hang around. So I think 48.5, I think this is going to be a pretty easy hit. The Chargers D has been pretty not great so far this year. And I just think it's going to be a gunsling show. I think everyone's going to be throwing and catching and scoring touchdowns, hopefully. For once, no field goals, thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Well, one, you definitely just changed Herbert. He's definitely going to throw a pick this week, just because you said that. But yeah, I mean, I like that pick too. Chargers, they always seem to put up points, and their defense always seems to give up points. And especially with all their questionable play calls, like going for it on their own, what was that, 30-yard line? Yeah. Or something like that. Like, I mean, if they don't get that, they then put the Raiders in a better position to score. So, I mean, yeah, looking for a lot of points in that game.
Yeah, and I think Staley is probably going to be in the hot seat at the end of this year if they don't at least make a playoff run. Yeah. Just because there's so much darn talent on that Chargers team, but just they underperform year in and year out and lose a lot of games that they should have had no problem winning. Right. But yeah, sorry, I'm not going to rant on the Chargers right now, but over 48.5, please hit.
Okay, so you had the first over/under pick of the year. I'm going to have the second.
All right.
And, we're going to AFC North matchup. We're going to take the over 40.5 points in the Ravens versus Browns matchup. And that's at minus 108 on DraftKings. So obviously last week, Ravens came off a disappointing loss to the Colts. They only scored 19 points. Then the Browns, they were on the flip side of that. They put up 27 points, absolutely dominated the Titans. Usually these matches, usually you think, okay, AFC North, low scoring, a lot of defense. But in their last 9 matchups, they've gone over that 40.5 mark, 7 of their last 9 matchups. So I think it's going to be a dogfight. I know there was some smack talk coming this week from the Ravens side. So I think the Browns might be a little fired up about that. And I think this game goes over.
Is the Browns home for that one?
Yes, Browns are home.
Oh, wow. Browns defenses look pretty legit this year, but you know who scored on them this year? Steelers.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel pretty good. You know, I like that. I know Ravens team's pretty beat up, so At least hopefully the Browns can at least put up points. I know the Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson can just do it
Yeah.
himself. As much as I hate
Mhm.
that guy, rest in piss. Um, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I'll go ahead and give my second pick here. It's going to be my player prop. Going to Bijan Robinson over 25 and a half receiving yards, minus 110 at Bet365. I'm a big Bijan guy, and I'm not saying that because I have him in 4 fantasy leagues this year. That is a big reason why I'm a Bijan guy, actually. In Texas, Hook'em, shout out Micah. But Bijan is over this line in 3 games this year, all 3 games. So far this year, he's got 27 receiving yards, 48 receiving yards, and another 27 receiving yards. So he's over in every game he's played this year. I know 2 of them were not over a lot, but win's a win. I just like the volume a lot here on Bijan as well. Bijan is averaging 4.6 catches a game. That's great for a running back. Running backs, if you're getting that many catches, hopefully you can get at least 25 and a half yards.
Mhm.
I got to be honest too. I don't really like Desmond Ridder. I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. I don't think he can sling it like a lot of other quarterbacks can in this league. I think he's a big check down guy. I think he's a big shit. That guy's not over there. Robinson. I feel like that's a lot of how he plays. Just from watching him for the first few weeks, because I've been watching him a little bit, and he just doesn't look to go deep or have. I've yet to see a lot of elite throws from him of guys who weren't wide open, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think he's going to do a lot of checkdowns, which is great for this pick. And also, they have a great matchup. They're playing the Jaguars in London, 9:30 a.m. East Coast time. Jags have been allowing running backs to go over 20 plus receiving yards in 2 of the first 3 games they played so far this year. They had Dameon Pierce last week, had 3 catches for 28 yards. Jerick McKinnon 2 weeks ago had 3 catches for 24 yards. And then week 1 against the Colts, they had Deion Jackson, 5 catches, 14 yards. The lone miss there. But again, a lot of these guys are having 3 catches, and Bijan's averaging way more than that. If they're going to be doing checkdowns for Bijan, I imagine that he's going to make a play happen, and I could see Bijan getting this over in 1 catch. I think 2 weeks ago he had a 29-yard catch alone. Big Bijan guy. Looked for Ridder to keep on checking down versus a defense that lets the running back get a lot of catches.
Yeah, I mean, you got a young quarterback like Desmond. He probably hasn't seen the field great yet, and then obviously you have a workhorse back in Bijan. You know, you're going to want to get him the ball, and then you want your young quarterback to make those check downs, try to get him into a rhythm, and then that obviously you're sad about the Jags defense giving up those yards to running backs. That's definitely a telltale about how their linebackers probably aren't super great guarding those running backs out of the backfield. So yeah, I think they'll definitely be susceptible to Bijan and his abilities there.
And I'm still rooting for the Jags because I can't forget about my season-long pick, Jags over 10 wins. Not looking great at all right now. I still have faith in the Jags, more faith than I do in the Bears making the playoffs. I think they'll pick it up here soon, but hopefully they don't all of a sudden click gears and just say, screw you, running back, don't catch the ball. That would be very unfortunate for some of us, named me.
Yeah. That'd be rough. But I'm also going to stay with the Jags over there in London. I'm going to go Calvin Ridley, 75 plus receiving yards. And I got that at plus 125 on DraftKings. So the past couple games, Ridley really hasn't played too well. I know last game he had 2 pretty bad drops that he came to the media this week and just said, he played bad and he had to shake it off. But then he said he'd play better. And usually I feel like when players make statements like that, they usually come out and perform. Over the last 3 games, he has 26 targets. So, I mean, Lawrence is trying to get him the ball. They're just not really connecting. I think Ridley has 13 receptions. So, I mean, he's catching about half of his targets. So he's clearly getting a lot of volume. And I think that over the last 2 games, Christian Kirk has also, I don't know how many yards he has. I know the one game he went over 100. And then I know he has a couple of receiving touchdowns, but I'm looking for Calvin Ridley to get back and help Trevor Lawrence get into a groove with that offense since they've lost 2 in a row and the offense looked terrible. So I'm excited to see what Ridley can do over there in London. So
Yeah, I like that. And like I said, I'm a big Jags believer for the season still. I think they can get right on track. I watched a game against the Texans this past week, and he did throw to Ridley a lot. It's just Ridley, there was one in the end zone I specifically remember. He was right here, man. I mean, it looked like me out there not catching it. Um, he's just, you got to think a receiver with that kind of talent is going to bounce back. So
yeah,
I like that pick for your wild card.
definitely.
For my final pick, I'm going Seahawks money line minus 105 on DraftKings. Seahawks, man. They're playing Monday Night Football against the Giants, and I think this is more of a fading the Giants kind of type pick.
Okay.
Danny Dimes or Daniel Jones is 1 in 10 in primetime games. That is the worst quarterback in prime time with at least 10 starts for at least in a career. And the people were starting to like the Seahawks too. The Seahawks somehow opened up as plus 2.5. They were the underdog when the books opened the line for this game, which it doesn't really make much sense to me. I haven't really seen a lot from the Giants, and I'm like, yeah, they're going to bounce back. They're good, right? I know they made the playoffs list last year, but this year they're just like throttled by the Cowboys, barely come back and beat the Cardinals, which sure, what a triumphant rally. But I mean, should you really be losing to the Cardinals by that much?
Yeah.
Not really. And then last week they got beat by the 49ers. I know they kept it. They kind of hung in there, but again, I don't see it from them. The Seahawks have gone down to +1 favorites now, so it's pretty much a toss up. The books think it's going to be an even game now. It's probably because so many people like me are hammering the Seahawks.
Yep.
But I think I'm just picking the better team here. I'm just really low on the Giants. They don't have a lot of weapons. The Seahawks do. I think they're better on defense. Offensively, they have way better weapons. It's not even close. I don't expect Saquon to suit up. I know he's still, I think, questionable, but I was told it should be about 3 weeks before he's back. So give me the Seahawks money line on Monday Night Football over the Giants in New Jersey, which shout out Jersey, go Knicks. It's all about the Knicks, baby. But not this time. It's going to be all about the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants, they're already 0 for 2 on primetime games this year. They've gotten pretty much blown out in both of them. Their skill position players have just been non-existent. Obviously, Saquon's hurt. And who's home for that game?
Is the Giants are home.
Giants are home. Okay. I mean, that might make a little bit of a difference just because it is hard to play in Seattle. Yeah, I don't really see the Giants. I mean, they might compete in this game, but I don't see them winning. They have nothing going for them so far this season. Like their offense has looked bad, except for that second half against the Cardinals. So I'm also pretty low on the Giants and Danny Dimes right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I could see this being a little close, but I think the Seahawks will eventually pull away. It'll be probably some. I feel like Seahawks games are always like really weird scores. Like
Yeah.
a lot of their games are up for possible scoregamis or something like that. But I could see this being like a 29-21 game or something like that. Seahawks pull away late. Real weird score. It's just how they are, but I see them pulling up the upset somehow. I don't understand how it is an upset, but yeah, give me the Seahawks. Any closing remarks for you, buddy?
No, I don't think I actually have anything this week. So yeah, just like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to hear from you guys. So comment below and say something.
Doing anything cool this weekend? No, Ohio State's not playing.
I'm going home. Going home for Quinn, my nephew's first birthday party. So
Nice.
shout out Quinn.
Maybe we can get a little blitz.
Maybe might have a drink or two. Might have to be the drunken uncle at the party. We'll see. So
I feel like that'd be the right smart thing to do. Again, I don't have a nephew, or actually I do. No, I totally do. Maybe I should get drunk at my nephew's party. That's on me. I feel like that's just a smart play, and I feel like everyone would appreciate that, especially Kelsey Profius. She would love that.
Someone's got to do it.
So. Yeah, I mean, if you don't, who will? Is I think what it comes down to.
Exactly.
But yeah, that'll wrap us up for week 4 of our picks. Hope we don't suck. Hopefully, we can keep up these winning ways. I know I'm still down on the year, but last week up a unit, going up, baby, to the moon, to the moon. That'll wrap us up. Fuck yeah, let's go, boys. Week 4.